Let me introduce myself. I'm Youngjae, a dancer, and the leader of the dance crew, Just Jerk. I'm grateful to be here. So, when you watch us do our moves, it looks fun, right? But to be honest, our crew's dance style is especially tough. Since there's actually a lot going on, we need to constantly train ourselves doing sprints. So I'd like to ask for your understanding just a bit. Let me give you a brief introduction to our team. We've won championships in South Korea, then in Asia, and worldwide. We even made it to the Olympic stage, where we were able to perform in our crew's solo stage, titled Wishfire, at the opening ceremony. And I think we might be the very first dancers in the world to do something like that. And recently, we also won in this dance battle TV show called Streetman Fighter. How much do you think dancers usually get paid? I assume that you might be wondering how much we get for gigs and performances.
We want to know.
How much do you think it is? 5 grand sounds awesome. That is quite a lot. Now, I'm telling you this with absolutely no exaggeration. When I got my first paycheck, it was 50,000 won. Yes, my monthly salary was 50,000 won. Yes. Oh my God, right? However, I was actually really happy because, everyone goes through tough times. Whether you're a dancer or working in another profession, everyone definitely has difficult periods. For me, earning that 50,000 won through dancing rather than earning money from other part-time jobs meant more. It was really precious to me. It was fun, you know. Earning my first money, 50,000 won, by doing what I love. Well, next time it could be 100,000, then a million, then 10 million won. I think I had that kind of positive mindset. Now, if I go back a bit to the past, financially, my situation wasn't that great. My mom told me to get out the house if I wasn't going to stop dancing. And she was being serious. Since I was good at sports back then, she'd been hoping for me to keep doing what I was good at the time. Even if it wasn't the sport I was doing at the time, she told me to try another sport. I used to box, and I was good at it. I was good at it, had a great record, and my scores were pretty decent. I won all the medals and had such good results that my mom thought I would go down that path. But because of some unexpected personal reasons, I could not. When I had to quit, I felt a deep sense of depression. This is something I've talked about in interviews before, but how should I put it? The feeling I had back then, it was like a loneliness of losing everything. It felt as if everything I had was just thrown away. It was all I had for 10 whole years. I boxed for about 10 years too, so trying to quit all at once, the depression I felt was indescribable. And my friends around me were really worried about me. Back then, there were 4 of us who always hung out together, including me. One of them used to sing back then, and he's still a singer now. Yes, he was a singer. And another friend was a soccer player, and one was a drummer. So those friends jokingly said to me, "Hey, Young Jae, our group is missing a dancer." They jokingly told me to take on the dance part, and actually, I had been really interested in dancing since I was young. Ever since I was a kid, Rain, the singer, was my hero. And because I liked Rain so much, I thought, should I really try dancing on a serious note? With that thought in mind, I jokingly brought it up to my mom. So I said to her, "Mom, can I try dancing?" When I said that, she told me, "Well, since you've been a bit down, why don't you try it for a month?" and encouraged me. So that's when I received my first academy registration fee. So I went to this dance academy, and as soon as I started to dance, wow, my heart was pounding so much. I already liked using my body, but when the music started and I learned the moves one by one to the rhythm, it was a whole different kind of fun I never knew of. I thought, oh, I like sports. And on top of that, I'm keeping time with exciting music. Could this be an actual path for me? That's the kind of thought I started to have. So I worked really hard and learned a lot during that month. And then I asked my mom, "Can I get the registration fee for next month?" She said, "But you said you were only going for a month." And that's how it all started. this whole war between me and my mom began. Yeah, I was like, Mom, please. And my mom would tell me, get out of my face. You know, that's just how things can go between a mom and her son. So my mom was like, absolutely not. So after she said that, I started working part-time. So, well, during the day, I worked as a server at a Chinese restaurant. Back then, the hourly wage was 2,801, which is different from now. Yeah, it's gone up a lot since then. But at that Chinese restaurant, they paid 5,000. No, actually, 7,001. That was a lot. Seriously. They really paid 7,001. And then at dawn, you know those frames at performance venues? The ones used to set up the stage structure. I worked at those outdoor venues, carrying those materials. That job paid 10,001. So I saved up all my part-time wages to pay for my registration fees, transportation, and meals. So while juggling both day and evening jobs like that, I naturally started skipping school. But that was wrong. It really was wrong. But that's how desperate I was. I was just a kid who had a dream, you know? That was how I was back then. But as the desperation grew, I could only see what was right in front of me. I had nothing in my head except the thought to go this path. You know what I mean, right? No matter what job you have or where you are, don't you ever feel lonely? I definitely felt that way. Even when you have your family by your side, there are times you feel lonely. And even if you have colleagues at work or a boyfriend or girlfriend, you can still feel lonely, right? But I felt especially lonely when I was going to the academy. And because of that loneliness, I created a team. And seeing these people happy helped fill that emptiness in my heart. But the dance scene, being a whole jungle, was an entirely different issue. In order to be recognized in that harsh dance scene, we had no choice but to be ruthless. You know, now choreography is now a proper genre in the dance scene. Performing our moves, you know, oh, that photo over there is when I entered a hip hop dance battle. But even back then, whether it was hip hop or popping or house, everyone was fiercely competing to be recognized within their own genre. But then all of a sudden, people who did choreography started entering competitions and suddenly found themselves being ostracized in that harsh dance scene, you know? Hey, what is that? Do you even call that a dance? That's not even real dancing. We started hearing things like that for no reason, even though we hadn't done anything wrong. But if I try to understand them, they also went through tough times to get to where they were. And then suddenly, as the choreography style started to become popular, it probably looked like we were fighting over territory. So maybe that's why they were so wary. So my friend Junho and I, feeling lonely, got pretty angry about it. We were young back then. We were so angry and wanted to win, so we decided to recruit more members. We thought it'll be tough with just the two of us. We need to gather more people. So that's how we ended up with S1, a friend named Kyungmin, and then lastly Emjun. And then the five of us started working together. Kyungmin was the youngest among us, but he ended up leaving the crew. He was physically exhausted and emotionally drained, but he felt sorry toward the older members, so he couldn't bring himself to say anything and just kept it all inside. But we could tell just by looking at him, we could sense it from the way he acted. Ah, that kid is really having a hard time. But then I started to wonder if I was the one that made Kyungmin feel lonely. That thought really crossed my mind. We started this to avoid feeling lonely ourselves, but in the end, we ended up making someone else feel lonely. I learned a lot from that experience too. So when Kyungmin said he wanted to leave, I felt really hurt. If only he had expressed more clearly that he was struggling, we could have tried to find a solution together. But instead, he had already made up his mind and just gave me his answer. He said, I don't think I can stay any longer. I was really upset. At that time, I was very upset and depressed, but there was nothing I could do, so I ended up letting him go. And that kid, well, I'll just call him that kid from now on. We all still do. Yes, we call him that kid. And after that, I think we didn't keep in touch for almost 8 years. 7 years, 8 years maybe? So after that, we recruited some more new members. And I also still had this desire to go up higher. Because even at that time, we still didn't have a studio. Our crew, Just Joke, didn't. I told you before that I tried to fill up this loneliness with the happiness from doing what I love, right? Then seeing these guys practicing out on the street made me feel even worse. So we pulled together all the money that Just Jerk had saved up from doing gigs, put it into savings, and opened our own studio. Thankfully, we didn't have to go into debt. That's our Hapjeong branch over there. And even now, as we are still recruiting new members, I keep asking them how they feel because I don't want to repeat the regret I felt with that kid. Even now, although I use being busy as an excuse and don't see them as often, I try to have one more meal together or have more conversations because I think the younger kids are more likely to struggle internally and feel lonely. So I try to reach out to them more. So actually, in Lee Jong's case, it was a bit different. She was very clear about what she wanted to do. As for Kyungmin, that kid struggled internally and kept things to himself. But in Lee Jong's case, if she was having a hard time, she would say so. And if she wanted to do something, she would say she wanted to do it. She was the type to assert herself strongly. Because of that, there were quite a few conflicts between me and Lee Jong. But more than I realized, Lee Jong was someone I cherished and loved very much. So when Lee Jong said she wanted to do something, even if it might have been a hindrance to the team, I often allowed it. Okay, go ahead, try it, try it. After continuing like that, eventually, Lee Jong found the direction she wanted to pursue. So I said, all right, do your best in that direction. After arguing and fighting like that, in the end, I ended up supporting Lee Jong to do what she wanted to do. Now, our team is coming up on 13 years. And during those 13 years, the two of them have become almost the only ones to have left the team. So it's been a long time because it's been over 10 years. So it's a team that's been around that long. And I think the result of trying so hard not to lose people is what's been holding our current crew together. I'm sure all of you have experienced that kind of loneliness as well. When you're lonely by yourself, it's really lonely, right? But if there are two of you who are lonely, at least you can lean on each other. But in my case, I have almost 20 people with me. So I'm only a little bit lonely. What I want to tell you today is that there are definitely a lot of good people around you. And if you try to do everything alone, it's just too hard. For me, it seemed impossible to succeed by thinking, I'm going to go up there by myself. I believe that when you fill your life with people who care for you and love you, that's when miracles will surely happen for you. 15 minutes seems really too short, you know. Am I right? Yes, 15 minutes is too short. So if I'm invited to SEBASI again next time, I'll make sure to wrap up in 30 minutes. Thank you all for bearing with my rather unorganized talk. I am Young Jae from Just Jerk. Thank you.